Hey folks, today we're diving into the 8 symptoms of a bad crankshaft position sensor. If your car's been acting up lately, this little guy might just be the culprit. Let's get started. The crankshaft sensor is constantly sending signals to the car's computer, telling it exactly where the crankshaft is. When that sensor starts going bad, those signals get all messed up. And what happens when the engine's timing is off? Stalling. You might be driving down the road, minding your own business, and bam, the engine just quits on you. Sometimes a bad crankshaft sensor can even prevent your car from starting at all. You turn the key, and all you get is that dreaded clicking sound. Talk about a pain in the neck. Sometimes your car might start up just fine, no problem at all. Then bam, the next time you try to start it, nothing. This on-again, off-again starting problem is a classic sign of a failing crankshaft sensor. It might work fine for a while and then suddenly it decides to take a break. So if you're experiencing these intermittent starting issues, don't ignore them. A bad crankshaft sensor is one of the many things that can trigger that dreaded check engine light. Your car's computer is constantly monitoring all the sensors, making sure everything's working as it should. When it detects a problem with the crankshaft sensor, it'll turn on the check engine light. If you hook your car up to a code reader and see codes like P0335 to P0339, that's a pretty good indication that your crankshaft sensor is the culprit. When your crankshaft sensor is on the fritz, it can really mess with your engine's rhythm. A bad crankshaft sensor can cause misfires, which is when the fuel and air mixture in the cylinders doesn't ignite properly. This can lead to a rough idle where the engine vibrates excessively when the car is stopped. It's like your engine's got a bad case of the hiccups. When the sensor isn't sending the right signals, the car's computer doesn't know when to inject fuel or spark the ignition at the right time. This can lead to a delay in throttle response, making your car feel sluggish and unresponsive. It's like trying to win a race with a car that's stuck in second gear. So, if you're experiencing poor acceleration or hesitation, it could be that pesky crankshaft sensor acting up again. A bad crankshaft sensor can actually impact your fuel economy. When the sensor's not working right, it can throw the whole system out of whack. This can lead to improper fuel injection, where the engine either gets too much fuel or not enough. So, if you've noticed that you're having to fill up your tank more often than usual, a faulty crankshaft sensor could be the culprit. Imagine this, you're cruising down the highway and suddenly your engine just shuts off. No warning, no sputtering, just complete and utter silence. This is one of the most dangerous symptoms of a failing crankshaft sensor. When the sensor goes completely kaput, it can cause the engine to cut out without any warning. If this happens to you, pull over to the side of the road as safely as possible and call for a tow truck. In some vehicles, the tachometer relies on the crankshaft sensor to provide the RPM signal. So if your crankshaft sensor is bad, you might notice that your tachometer needle is acting erratically or not moving at all. This symptom alone isn't always a surefire sign of a bad crankshaft sensor, but if you're experiencing this symptom along with some of the other symptoms we've talked about, it's definitely a red flag. So there you have it, folks. Those are 8 signs that your crankshaft sensor might be on its last legs. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, don't wait until you're stranded on the side of the road. Get your car to a mechanic and have that crankshaft sensor checked out. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.